Hey, this is Jamey from Stillmeyer Games, and today I'm going to talk about my favorite mechanism in Clover, a game that I played for the first time just the other day with 4 total players. I think it plays up to 6. Clover, here's a photo of it. I don't have the game, but here's some photos of what we created with this game. Clover is a fully cooperative game that does some really cool things. And I first want to start out with a few component callouts here, because it uses 2 components that I think are really neat. One is it uses these square cards with a hole in the middle so that you can secure the card on your Clover, I'll call it a mat, but it's made out of plastic. I think this is a really neat addition to prevent these cards from sliding around, which is very helpful for the game. Maybe not completely necessary, but very helpful. So I really like that. Holes in cards are cool. And also, this plastic mat, you can write on it in a dry erase marker, which I thought was really clever. There's lots of things, lots of like cards and other materials that you can write on with dry erase, but I often forget that you can write on plastic with them. And this is a great implementation of that. You can write directly on the plastic, because the point of this game is that you are randomly putting these cards down and then writing a single word that will help people guess which cards correspond with that word. Because after you write down these words, you're going to take these cards, you're going to mix in a few random cards, shuffle them up, and then show them all to all players, and they have to figure out the right configuration of these cards based on the clues that you gave. Cooperatively, which is another thing that I really love about the game. I love cooperative social games like this. They're by far my favorite style of party game. Up there with Telestrations, but just one, which is by the same company of this, and Clover definitely fit into that category really well. And the last part of this game, as it relates to that, the cooperative element of it, that I really enjoy, is the clue-giving method here that I just described, but how there can be multiple interpretations for what you do. For example, as I said, you are using these 2 words to write down a single word clue on the Clover. And you can do this in kind of 2 different ways. One is you can write down a word that applies to both of these 2 words separately. So this is the word shop. This person wrote candy, and this person wrote mint, and or wrote candy for mint as well. So it's a clue that applies to both of these words independently. Another way to do it, though, is that you can write a word that is representative of the combination of these 2 words, like a mint shop, or yeah, in this case, it would probably be a mint shop. But there is really no such thing as a mint shop. So in this case, the person decided to write down a clue that was independent of these 2 words. This makes puzzling it out actually more difficult, because you don't know if the person wrote down a word that applies independently to each word, or if they were trying to write down a single word that applies to the combination of the 2 words. But I like that. It makes the game more difficult, and also gives you more decision points as the person writing down the clue, because you have to decide, am I going to write down a single word that applies to both of these words, or a single word that applies to the combination of these 2 words. I really like that, and I'm kind of in awe that the designer thought to incorporate that into the game. That's really clever. One might say very Clover. Those are my favorite elements of Clover, my favorite mechanisms in the game. I'd love to hear your thoughts. If you can think of other games like Selenia that uses cards with holes in them, games that have you write directly on plastic instead of on other dry erase material, and any other fully cooperative party style games, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks.